Why would anyone want to go in?
What's a reason that you've said that's not a good reason?
But it's like suffer in silence. Dude, what do you want me to do? Pat you on the ass? Like, go do your job. Every day's a tryout, dude. Like, why are you complaining?
Some of these guys are going on 2 missions a night. You know, they're hitting a target, they're getting intel from that target, and then they're rolling it right into another target, and they're doing it night after night after night after night.
It's like a dilemma with soft, too, because it's like operator syndrome, you know?
Yeah.
And the study that they did, but it's like that's what my experience was. Like, I got to a point where I burned I wasn't able to have any relationships with even my closest, like my grandmother, you know, like I was in just like, but it's a dilemma with soft, and it's like you know, because I mentor kids going in and work with kids going into soft branches, and at first it's like, why do you want to go in? And it's like, no, that's not a good reason, you know. Why would anyone want to go in?
What would not be, what's a reason that you've said that's not a good reason?
Like, a really good one that's like surface, superficial, that's a great example, is like, well, I don't want to have a regular job, or I want a cool job. It's like, I don't care what job you want. That's not a reason. Why do you want to do this? This is like the hardest thing that I've ever experienced. Mm-hmm. That like literally, like, I got friends killing themselves from doing this job. They made it back from Afghanistan, but they didn't survive the experience. So how am I going to turn around and tell you it's a great idea to go? But at the same time, like, some of the biggest learnings and some of those most meaningful things that are in my life are from that thing.
Yeah.
All my relationships that I have from that stuff, like my friends that got shot with me on that were on my team, I see them, like, one of them is one of my they're both my closest friends, and I see them both, like, one of them I see multiple times a week and he works with me, and the other one I see like at least monthly, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we're all like, that's what keeps us resilient, is that we're connected, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a dilemma with soft, because it's like, dude, you can go and you can get this experience and these skills and go to these courses and get in these positions to really like stretch your human potential, you know, way outside of what you thought was capable, right? But then it's a dilemma because there's something missing that people are breaking down, and they're not able to. It's like the things that make you so good at your job overseas, that breaks you if you come home with that. Mm-hmm. If you're hyper vigilant, if your stress response is always on, if like all that. But dude, if that's not on when you're in a high threat environment, that's like, you're not going to survive that either.
Yeah.
But so it's like, you know, and then not having the tools, because a lot of like, and it's really no fault of any of the guys that were like in charge or whatever for me, because they're falling in on the culture that they fell in on. And a lot of that from the Marine side, I don't know what you experienced, but it's like suffer in silence is a thing. Yeah. Suffer in silence. Like, dude, what do you want me to do? Pat you on the ass? Like, go do your job.
Yeah.
Every day's a tryout, dude. Like, why are you complaining? What, do you have headaches? Join the club. What else? Get out of my office.
Yeah.
But like, suffer in silence culture doesn't work anymore, you know? And like, I've gotten to have relationships with the World War II guys, and one World War II Raider in particular, that I have been really close with. And it's the same thing, dude. They have the same thing. They've been suffering in silence, and then now they're trying to come out and talk about it more in their 90s, you know, and communicate it. But like, dude, what can we do now to promote a positive thing for guys to, if you have a problem, it's okay to ask for help? Because there's a stigma in the veteran culture and the military community period of like, oh, if I ask for help, I'm going to get extra pages in my medical jacket, and then I'm going to be looked at as a liability, or people are going to judge me, I'm going to be looked at as weak.
Yeah. I mean, man, I wasn't expecting to go into this conversation, but I mean, there's a lot of things that have to change, you know? In one aspect, you cannot fault the units for kind of the upbringing, you know, of what it takes to be an operator at that level. You know, there has to be the competition. There has to be the suffering. All that shit has to happen, I think. You know, where they're failing is the transition out, you know, and the overuse. The overuse.
Chronic stress.
The overuse of soft units, you know, especially the tier 1 units. You know, I mean, those guys are going, I don't know what you were doing. I never did this, but some of these guys are going on 2 missions a night. You know, they're hitting a target. They're getting intel from that target, and then they're rolling it right into another target, and they're doing it night after night after night after night for 20 fucking deployments. You know?
Nuts.
And there's all these other units out there that could be doing something, but it's send these guys, send these guys, send these guys, send these guys, I mean, Afghanistan was a soft war. You know, a lot of Iraq was a soft war after Fallujah. And you got something?
What's interesting about Afghan and Iraq is that, like, whether we should be there or whatever, but like wherever we put forces, that's where the SIG, you know, that's where the activity is going to be. Mm-hmm. If you put a base here, that's where, like, now it's going to start getting attacked, you know, like, and all that. So it's like, I don't know, dude, like
what do you
we did all this work,
you know, and well, before we get into that, you know what I mean? We're talking about this issue, you know, and you're talking about mentoring kids, and I mean, it's just, do you want your son to go into this?
No.
I don't want mine to go into it either. You know, would you stop your son from going into this?
To an extent, but if it was like something that was he was called to do, I wouldn't, you know, I would,
yeah.
At a certain point I would support him, but, you know, like, I don't really, it's hard for me to recommend to people that they should do it, you know. For me, I come from a little different perspective because, like, I was kind of going to jail and then I got into the military, you know, from my military school experience. Even
the military is one thing. SOF is different.
SOF is different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
You know.
And
I think it was there's a lot of glorification, you know, that happens. There's a lot of war glory that gets passed down, and do you know what I'm saying? War is glorified, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's acts that should be glorified that have happened over there, but, you know, ever since the age of social media, and they see, you know, cool guy pics, and they don't see the flip side of this, and that's what this, you know, that's one thing that this show brings, is it shows the other side of the coin. You know, it's like, look, yeah, there is a lot of cool shit that happens, and you do a lot of shit that you're never going to be able to do anywhere else. And then all that cool shit that you did is going to fuck you up for the rest of your life. Yeah. And that's what they miss.
Yeah.
You know, and every time you say that, it falls on deaf ears until something like this conversation comes out, like what we're getting ready to get into with your transition. You know, all of our friends that have shot themselves, all of our friends that committed suicide, all, you know, whether it's pills, whether it's the trigger, whether it's, I mean, shit, I tried to kill myself in my fucking garage, you know, ran the car running. And not that I don't want to make this about me at all, but just about everybody I know had has had one or more suicide attempts. I mean, that flag right behind you, my best friend fucking died of a heroin overdose.
Damn, bro.
You know, I mean, nobody really, for a long period of time, nobody really painted that picture of what the other side of this, what it looks like coming out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's here. You know, the World War II guys didn't, the Vietnam guys, you know, it just wasn't talked about, you know, what it was like coming out of this. Everybody knew, I think, especially the Vietnam generation, that it had fucked those people up. It had fucked those guys up in the head. And, but nobody did anything, you know, and now this generation, I mean, we just got out of a 20-year war, you know, 20 fucking years.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.